What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson, and in this video you find me sitting in the 2022 Toyota Tundra. This is the limited Crew Max model, so it comes with a 5.5-foot bed. This is also equipped with the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 non-hybrid engine. It has the 4x4 system and the TRD off-road package. This one is painted in the supersonic red premium color with the black Softex interior. And when you include all the other add-ons and delivery, you can get this spec for $60,188. And in this video, I'll give you my likes and dislikes about this all-new full-size truck so you have a better idea before you buy. Let's start this review with the outside first. This is a clean sheet design through and through. This has no carried over parts from the previous Tundra. So this one has a design that looks more like the other full-size trucks out there. Say what you will about this looking like a copy of another thing. If you want to stay competitive in this tough truck market, you have to blend in. And this new Tundra blends in real well because it has a beefy look. There's a lot of straight-edged, sharply creased features all over the place. The headlights, the hood, the grille, and the fenders, they seem to interlock into each other like a well-built structure. Looking from the side, the wheel arches look like they have broad, squared-off shoulders. This one comes with rock rails installed, and at the rear end, this tailgate has a more updated look with the integrated spoiler and the big bold model name imprint, just like the other big trucks on sale. This truck being equipped with the TRD off-road package means that visually you also get the 20-inch black wheels with the TRD center caps, the TRD grille, and the 4x4 TRD off-road decal on the side of the bed. There's a lot more upgrades that come with this package, and I'll share my thoughts on that later. Overall, I think this is a sharp-looking truck, especially when you compare it to the previous generation Tundra. This one looks like it's been going to the gym, lifting weights, and getting cut. Combine this updated design with the supersonic red paint and the black TRD wheels, this truck looks rugged, and it looks like it's mad about something. I want to know what you think about the design, so let me know in the comments below. One of the big changes in this design is, of course, the power plant. There's no more V8s in the Tundras. Instead, you have a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 in the engine bay. Toyota calls it the I-Force, and it's cranking out 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. This new engine is 2.2 liters smaller than the outgoing V8. That's roughly the displacement of a small 4-cylinder engine, yet this is making more power and torque. Force induction does some pretty crazy things, but it just can't replicate that V8 sound. I really miss it out of the old truck. The other benefit of the smaller engine with the twin turbos is, of course, the mileage, and that's also thanks to this 10-speed automatic transmission. More on that later. But this is rated at 17 city, 22 highway, and 19 miles per gallon combined. That's a lot better than the old one, which is rated at 13 city and 17 highway. Now, if you need more power, the new Tundra also comes in a hybrid variety, which they call the I-Force Max. That setup has the same 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, but it comes with a motor generator mounted within the bell housing and a battery packed underneath the rear seat. That hybrid system makes an impressive 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. That's also the only engine option found in the SUV version of this, the new Sequoia. I've driven that one before, and it's a very capable 3-row SUV. If you want to see my driving impressions of that, click the link up here. Now, while the hybrid offers more power, it also comes with about 500 pounds of extra weight between the motor generator, the battery, and also all the ancillary equipment. It has a slightly quicker 0 to 60 time, but for me personally, it's not a clear upgrade. It's also about $3,400 more expensive than the non-hybrid version. It does have a 2 mile per gallon improvement in the city, so you got to do some math there to figure out the break-even point if you want to justify the cost. So I guess it boils down to what your driving situation is like. If there's a lot of stop-and-go traffic in your commute, then it would make sense to get the hybrid. But if most of your driving is done on highways and at steady state speeds, then I think the non-hybrid option is the way to go. Regardless of your engine option, you get the same 10-speed automatic transmission. That's a lot of gears. Basically, your 8th, 9th, and 10th gears are overdrive gears, and they're necessary if you want to hit that 22 miles per gallon in the highway. The other big upgrade in this truck, of course, is the rear suspension. Toyota has thrown out the leaf spring design, and in its place is a multi-link design with coil springs. This having the TRD off-road package, you'll get the upgraded Bilstein shocks, and it's pretty good. It's not only great for higher speed off-road stuff, but it's got great on-road manners too. Ride and handling wise, this Tundra won't let you forget that this is still a body-on-frame truck with a solid rear axle. So it still has that traditional rough and tumble kind of feel. It's great for smooth roads, but hitting those potholes and big bumps can be uncomfortable, but just for a brief moment. As for the 4x4 performance, this has your typical 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low, and you could switch between the modes via this little switch over here right beside the drive mode dial. Switching between the modes is fairly straightforward, but it does involve some rolling backwards or forwards just for a little bit so that the gears and the transfer case can mesh a little bit better. This Tundra also comes with an electronic locking rear diff, so if this thing needs a little bit more motivation to get itself out of a rut, you can engage that locking rear diff via the switch over here. There's also multi-terrain select, crawl control, which is like cruise control for off-roading, and also a downhill assist feature in this Tundra. And like I mentioned before, this has the optional rock rails tucked in closely to protect the underside, and there's also skid plates underneath as part of the TRD off-road package. Moving inside, here's where Toyota also massively improved the Tundra. The big story here is the infotainment system. This 14-inch touchscreen is nice eye candy, but the real upgrade is in the software. This infotainment system runs very smoothly, and I love how intuitive everything is on the screen. If you know how to use a smartphone, you'll know how to find everything in here. I like how there's an easy pinch to zoom functionality within the map. The 360-degree camera views show up very clearly on this big screen, and I like how you can toggle through all the camera views to make it easier when you're off-roading, trailering, or even when you want to just look at what's in the bed and if anything has flown out. And if you need help finding anything, just like your phone, you can bring up an assistant by saying, "Okay, Toyota." On top of that, there's also wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and that is just super convenient. As for the center console, this looks more up to date. The HVAC, the heated and ventilated seat controls are all laid out very clearly and are easy to find. And I also love the toggle switches underneath for the more critical controls. There's also a wireless charger in the storage area, and right behind the shifter with the TRD logo on it, you'll find the drive mode dial and the important 4x4 controls that I mentioned earlier. Looking ahead, the steering wheel is greatly improved from the last one. The buttons are all nice, and I like how the cruise control functions are all integrated within the spoke of the steering wheel. The previous generation had that cruise control stock that was used for ages, and it just looked pretty old. The instrument cluster in this Tundra is not the fancy 12.3-inch fully digital display. This one is more old school and analog. I personally like the digital display because it makes the truck feel more premium and modern. And frankly, it's a little disappointing to not find it in here because this is a $60,000 truck. Moving to the second row, there's plenty of legroom at 41.6 inches. Space-wise, it's a little smaller compared to the previous Tundra or when compared to other full-size trucks. But that's like saying my mansion is smaller than your mansion. In the end, we're still living in mansions. It's very spacious back there. And I also love how there's a traditional sliding rear window in this CrewMax cab. Just remember that that is not available for the smaller double cab. As for the 5.5-foot bed, this is an aluminum reinforced composite bed, so it should be pretty durable. I like the simple design with the clever cutouts for various pieces of wood to help you partition stuff. There's a handy outlet back there if you ever need it for anything. And there's also a bunch of LED lighting and tie downs so that you can meet the expectations of a modern truck bed. I went to Home Depot to do a 4x8 test, and it could fit that flat between the wheel wells as expected. There's of course going to be some overhang with the tailgate down, but if you're traveling with just a few pieces that's not too heavy, you can keep the tailgate up. I like how this Tundra has a nice bed trick. There's a button on the side of the left taillight to open the tailgate. This one also comes with an optional bed step which makes getting in a lot easier. As for towing, this one is rated at just a little over 11,000 pounds, and the payload is just slightly over 1,700 pounds. That's the one downside to going with coil springs as opposed to leaf springs. Coil springs is great for ride and handling improvements, but the old leaf spring design was really good for supporting a lot of weight. So what is it like to drive the new Toyota Tundra? Compared to the last generation, this is a much better daily driver. The new turbocharged engine feels peppier and more useful at the low end. The ride quality is a lot better thanks to the rear suspension upgrades, despite still feeling rough around the edges at various times. And in the end, this should also be much more efficient to use. But I really do question the need for the hybrid system because it does add a lot more weight. And at the end, the efficiency gains isn't really there depending on how you drive. So in my opinion, the base engine is the way to go. I also like how the tech and safety upgrades brought this truck to a more modern standard. I love using the 360-degree camera view, which makes parking this big truck a really simple task. The infotainment system and the assistant also makes finding directions and various other things a breeze. There's no need to type in addresses on a keyboard. It really takes all the fuss out of it. Overall, this is a nice truck with nice specs. The 4x4 system with the added TRD off-road package gives it so much more capability, and it's something I'd readily take to the trails when the opportunity comes. Compared to other trucks, this Tundra doesn't really push the envelope because there are more powerful, more comfortable, and more efficient trucks out there. But considering how this is spec'd and the entire package, this is actually a pretty wonderful truck. I want to hear your thoughts on this, so please leave your comments down below. And as always, if you've learned something or if you found this video entertaining, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, and that notification bell so that you can be notified anytime we make a new video. Let's wrap it up right there. My name's Hanson. This has been the 2022 Toyota Tundra Limited, and I'll see you in the next one.